straightened out. But we've got a treat for you guys tonight, because before we start digging into the plot of this week's episode, we've got a special guest that stopped by to share a few minutes with us. Eduardo Roman, how are you, sir?
I am good. I'm good. And thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure.
Did I pronounce your name right?
It's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Either way, Roman or Roman.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, it's fine.
If you don't recognize Eduardo's name, he played in Star Trek Picard in this season, in season 2, episode 8, which was titled Mercy. He was the Vulcan. If you remember, Agent Wells had a flashback to back when he was a child, and he was the Vulcan that attempted to do the mind meld with him. So how long have you been acting?
I've been acting since, right after college. I went to law school, to please my parents. And right after that, after I graduated, I'm like, I want to do this. I want to give it a try.
Yeah.
So I moved to Mexico City. Oh, by the way, I'm from Mexico. You can hear it in the accent, probably. And so after I graduated law school in my hometown in Mexico, I moved to Mexico City to pursue acting, to study, and to start working. So yeah, it's been a while. So I've been an actor for over 25 years. Yeah.
So you went to, I saw on your IMDb that you went to law school. So you went to law school, and just as soon as you got out of law school, you decided you never practiced law at all?
I never practiced law.
Really?
And my dad, rest in peace, he was a lawyer.
Yeah.
And he was hoping that I would go to Mexico City and then quit and then come back and, work with him,
Yeah.
And that never happened.
Oh, the acting bug bit you. So
no, at the end of the day, he told me, you know what, I'm really happy that you're doing what you like and you're making a living out of it.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it worked out at the end,
Well, how did it come that you ended up in this episode of Picard? Was it just an audition, and how did it happen?
Okay. Oh, let me tell a fun fact before I move on to that.
Sure.
My hometown is Torreon, Coahuila, and that is the city. Ricardo Montalban, aka Khan, was born in Mexico City, but he grew up. They moved when he was a child. They moved to my hometown, and basically his childhood, his teenage years, all the way to college, he lived in my hometown. He was raised there in my hometown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's like a hometown treasure. Ricardo. Yeah. To answer your question, well, I'm in Los Angeles. For people that don't know where I live, I'm currently in Los Angeles. I'm in Burbank. I have an agent, like every actor does here. Otherwise, you don't get the auditions.
Right. Yeah.
So I got the audition from my agent for this show named Dylan's Kitchen. And I'm like, oh, Dylan's Kitchen. Yeah, must be a new show, right?
Yeah.
And the audition was for a bartender. Okay. And I was like, and I had like a few days to turn it in. And I was like, you know what, I'll do it later, because I had some other stuff that I had to work on before. I'm like, I'll just leave it for later, right? I didn't know what it really was for. So the very next day after I get that audition, Joe Menendez, director, he directed episodes 7 and 8 of season 2 of Picard.
Right.
Joe sends me a message. Joe is my friend, and he knows my previous work. I did this short film that won a bunch of festivals, and when Joe saw it, he instantly became a fan of the short and a fan of my work. And the short film is called, it's named Contrapelo. It's in Spanish, but believe me, you don't need to speak Spanish. That's the great thing about that short.
Yeah.
It's even though it's in Spanish, it's subtitled, but even if it didn't have any subtitles, you totally know what's going on. It's on Apple TV if you guys want to watch it.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, it was shortlisted for the Oscars. We made it to the top, to the last 10. We didn't make it to the 5 nominees, but
right, yeah,
we're close. Anyway, so I've known Joe for what is it, like more than 10 years probably. And so he sends me after I get that audition for Dylan's Kitchen, the next day I get a message from Joe, and he's like, hey man, you get an audition for Star Trek? And I was like, Star Trek? I'm not, and I tell him no. I told him no. And he's like, oh man, they messed up again. I'm gonna call casting and make sure you get it. I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna get an audition for Star Trek. The next day, this is the third day now, my agent calls me and she's like, hey, they really want you to audition for that bartender role. It's for Star Trek. I'm like, Dylan's Kitchen is Star Trek? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'll record it right now. I'll put myself on tape right now. And then she's like, they also want you to read for this other role. There's no dialogue, but they want you to read for it. Some alien. It said alien. It's still, the script still said Dylan's Kitchen, and it said that the role was alien.
Oh, really?
And then of course I went like, what alien is this? You know, what race is this? What planet? Yeah. Like, oh my God, I was hoping it was a Vulcan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, I hope it's a Vulcan. So then I record the auditions, submit them to casting. A few days pass, and Joe sends me a message. Joe's a busy man, so it's always messages.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, we're looking at your auditions. We like what you did for both the bartender and the Vulcan. And I was like, what? Vulcan?
Yeah.
And we're trying to see where to put you, which one. And then he's like, which one? I mean, I don't have a say. I don't choose. I don't pick. There's a whole people involved in the process. But which one, if it were up to you, which one would you like to play? The bartender who has lines or the Vulcan who has no dialogue? I'm like, dude, the Vulcan, I don't care, you know?
Yeah.
And then he's like, it's a Vulcan in capital letters. He wrote it. Yeah, I know it's a Vulcan. Like, yeah, that's the obvious, you know? And so he's like, okay, we'll see, you know, we're talking, we're just deciding, you know. And a few days pass. This all takes it's a process, and it takes time. And you know, you as an actor, you have to forget about these things, because you can't be like dwelling, you know, thinking it's torturing yourself. Am I gonna get it? What am I gonna get? So I kind of try to forget. So I kind of forgot about it. Then, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days passed. My agent calls me and she's like, hey, you got the job for Star Trek. I'm like, which one? Which character? Oh, you got the Vulcan. I'm like, oh man, amazing. I was, you know, over the moon. And she's like, well, network still has to approve you.
Yeah.
So, and what that means for people who don't know is that even though they already like my audition, they gotta investigate me, basically, to see that I didn't post some stupid things on Twitter, that I, you know what I mean, you know, basically that you're a nice person.
Well, now I've heard stories of like, I'm a big fan of like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and stuff like that. So I listened to a podcast that Vince Gilligan does, and he's the writer of a lot of those scripts, and he's directed a lot of the episodes. He's the creator of both of those shows.
Yes.
And he's very protective of like his scripts getting out. So when he calls agents call actors to come in and audition for stuff, he writes scenes that have nothing to do with the script, but the character that he writes in this fake script is kind of similar to what he's wanting, you know. So they stay like, I think Aaron Paul is the guy that played Jesse on Breaking Bad. I think he originally read for like a cop or something like that. And of course he didn't play anything close to being a cop in the show, you know. So I guess just to find out what they can do, you know, and then they find out later, oh yeah, you're going to be on Breaking Bad, and they're like, oh, that's this huge show. But the bartender role, so would there have been a difference if you had taken the bartender role? Because I'm assuming that the flashback scene that you were in was like mostly second unit. You probably didn't actually get to meet Patrick Stewart. And
I didn't get to meet Patrick Stewart, but it was first unit.
Oh, it was first unit. Okay.
Yeah, because Joe Menendez was directing, and he was the director for those 2 episodes, the main director or the only director.
Yeah.
And I almost met Patrick because before we actually shot the scene in the woods, which actually happened there's some acres in Santa Clarita, and that belong to Disney.
Right.
And they rent those locations to other productions. And this one, which was a forest, was Paramount rented it out from Disney. So they took us out there. But before that, what I was trying to tell you was that I almost met Patrick because I went to a wardrobe fitting, and he had just left. And the wardrobe, the stylist, the main lady, who was everyone was so nice in that production. Everyone's incredible and amazing, and you fall in love with them because they're so nice and so professional. The stylist, she was like, "Oh, you just missed Patrick," and I asked her, would it have been okay to, shake his hand, meet him? She's like, "Yeah, he's amazing." There were a lot of COVID protocols, so maybe I wouldn't have been able to shake his hand.
Yeah.
But I almost met him, so I missed that opportunity. What else? I had also before shoot date, I had a wardrobe fitting and a prosthetics fitting. They wanted to see, what size of ears they were going to apply, see my eyebrows, to decide if they were going to cover all of them or use part of them. I remember them discussing that, we'll just use this part and then use the fake ones. They ended up covering my real eyebrows, all of it, and putting the Vulcan ones from scratch. So yeah, those were the 2 visits before the actual shoot day. And yeah, amazing experience.
Had you ever done any work with prosthetics and stuff before this?
No, just the basic stuff like blood, getting shot, blood. But no, like applying of new parts on my body. No.
Yeah.
This was the first time. Yeah.
Now I went back and looked at your IMDb, and I mean, like I said at the beginning, this might be the first time that a lot of the Trek fans have heard your name, but I've realized I've definitely seen you before because you were in Adam Ruins Everything. I loved that show. How did that happen? Same thing. Yeah.
An audition from my same agent.
Yeah.
This one was pre-COVID, so that one I didn't self-tape myself. I actually went to the casting director's office and auditioned like everyone else, and got the job. And I ended up playing. It's the show about the bugs.
Yeah, I remember the show. Yeah, I need to go back and watch it again.
I'm one of the jurors. Judges. I'm sorry, one of the judges. My name was Araña Manches.
Yeah.
Crazy
now
stuff.
you've done a lot of voices for like a lot of video games. Like you were in Grand Theft Auto 5 and Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Yeah.
How is so when you do like Grand Theft Auto 5? What voice did you do for that?
Oh, for that one, it was just people on the streets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was a long time ago. If you
that game came out a while back. Yeah,
that was a long time, but it was voices of people on the streets, yelling, even some dying noises.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Let me tell you, it's a lot of fun. It's going back to being 5 years old and playing with your friends that you're shooting, dying, yelling, stop there, whatever, that was fun. The Star Wars one, that one was very interesting.
Really?
They really wanted Latinos for it because of the way I never read a word in English for the Star Wars one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Everything I read Huttese and Rhodian. That's Greedo's language, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Huttese and Rhodian, because the way the pronunciation of the vowels of the syllables is very similar to Spanish.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true.
So it was a full day of things like that. Now the crazy thing is that all this was written.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how many times do you have to repeat that to yourself before you can remember it? I mean, I know you're reading it when you're actually reading the copy, but how many times do you have to repeat it before you can just let it flow like that?
Honestly, and it's it's not that it's saying that, oh, I'm so good at it. It's just
yeah,
they're really Spanish language syllables. So
right.
Honestly, I didn't have to repeat that much. It was
okay.
One full read. If they had me repeat, it was not because of mispronunciation. It was because the director wanted me to say it in a certain way, like, hey, you know what, you're happy here, or you're angry here. And that was the only reason we had to go back and maybe repeat a sentence, you know. You're giving out a command or whatever, you know.
Now I know, talking to you before you came on the show, you told me that you might not be as knowledgeable about Star Trek as a lot of the audience. I mean, we've been watching Star Trek since we were kids. I mean, how much you said that you wanted to play a Vulcan, so you obviously know enough about it. So how big of a Star Trek fan were you before doing this show?
Big enough. I grew up. I in another interview that I did last week, they asked me how did Star Trek show up in my life, and being from the hometown that I told you about in Mexico, we didn't get the original series. And my brother corrected me because he said, yes, we got it, remember, but we got it like only on the weekends, the original series, and from the Mexican channel dubbed into Spanish. And we just got like what happened is back then the channels in Mexico, they would buy like packages,
right?
And then they would show whatever episode they felt like, so it wasn't in order. And I remember seeing a few episodes when I was a kid, and this is in the 80s. I'm talking about the late 70s, early 80s, watching the old episodes, of course.
Right.
But they were all like, they were not in order. It was a mess. So that's why I don't think I have this, like, I didn't have this order. But then we got cable in the 80s, and then we got the movies.
Right. Okay.
So I remember watching Wrath of Khan, getting the toys, getting the action figures. And that made me want to go back when I was a little bit older and search for the original series. So yeah. And look, I just got this last week.
Oh wow. Oh yeah.
My friend
Mirror Spock, yeah.
David Stefan, he's part of Exo 6.
Oh.
And David is a good friend, and I ordered it. I don't get free stuff yet. But but yeah, no, I'm a fan. I am a fan. Yes.
You didn't get to keep any of your props or your costume or anything from the show?
No, they are very careful with all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I signed an NDA. I couldn't say anything to anyone. I couldn't take anything. I didn't even want to ask his phone. I didn't even want to. I want to go back. So
yeah, yeah.
I didn't want to cause any trouble, and so I behaved. And also, I couldn't tell anyone, hey, I'm going to be on Star Trek Picard. And he immediately, you must be related to Rios, because I'm like,
yeah.
and because of the beard, I'm like, I can't say maybe, I don't know, man. I'm like, So when it came out, my friend was blown away that I wasn't related to Rios, that I was a Vulcan. So
Right, yeah. Scott, can you hear me?
I believe I'm actually here this time.
Okay.
I apologize, both Sean, boss, sorry, and Mr. Roman. I am very sorry for all that.
man, you made it. You're here. Awesome.
Hey, it happens. Well,
I'm
I will
sure
say,
Sean already said it, but it's very nice to have you.
Thank you.
Did anybody that I know you've probably talked a little bit online with some of the fans since the episode aired, and there's been a lot of speculation going around that your character was okay. So I don't know if you remember the episode Carbon Creek from Enterprise.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's been a lot of speculation that you were playing one of those Vulcans, or that you were or that it was a mission related to that this may have been actually Carbon Creek just 20 some odd years later, because Wells, this would have been like the 70s, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any speculation to that? Or I mean,
whatever speculation, it would only come from my own head. No, they never told me. They keep things open, and that's why, you know, I wish I can get to go back and work again on it. You know, what was on the script is all that I knew about, you know, and what Joe told me, which was not much more. We only talked about that particular scene, what was happening is that at that moment. Yes, the mind meld was unsuccessful because it was interrupted by me getting beamed up. Both my Vulcan partner and myself getting beamed up. Why did they beam me up? They never told me. You know, I wish I could tell you.
Yeah, I understand.
And you know, probably if they would have told me, they would probably tell me to shut up and don't say anything. But honestly, I can tell you right now, not a lot of information was on the script.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll say that, I mean, we as fans that have been watching Star Trek for so long, we can tell sometimes when they cast someone as a Vulcan that might be trying too hard to be a Vulcan. But I'll say in the brief glimpse, I mean, in the brief glimpse, we got, you know, 1.5 scenes with you in this episode. In that brief glimpse, you hit that Vulcan vibe, and it didn't look unnatural. You know, you did a good job as a Vulcan in that episode. I would not be surprised if they had you come back and to play a similar character at some point in the future. Maybe not on Picard, but maybe on Strange New Worlds or Discovery or something like that. So
I'm crossing fingers, Sean. Thank you for that. I did, even though I already knew what a Vulcan was, how they behaved, I did go back. I did go back and watched a lot of Spock.
Yeah.
And besides watching Spock, I also wanted to see what they were doing with the new Vulcans, or not new, with the new show, with the Vulcans in the new show. So I went to Discovery and I watched Sarek.
Yeah.
New Sarek, not Mark Leonard.
Right.
I forget his name, the British actor. He's
James Frayne.
Yes. So I watch James as well, and I try to get, you know, the best parts from both of those guys, you know. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate it.
It flowed really naturally. Just a person can even try too hard just with the expression on their face to really overplay what they're trying to put across. But I do have to agree with Sean. It was really just cool, relaxed, and it just flowed across your face and out of the screen real easy. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Do you have any other stuff that you're working on that you want to tell us about before you go?
There's a movie out right now. It just came out a couple of weeks ago. It's called Coast.
Okay.
Melissa Leo is in it. Cristela Alonso, the comedian that she has 2 specials on Netflix. Totally different role. I play the high school teacher for the main girl. It's a coming of age teenager film.
Okay.
If anyone is interested in that, it's on Amazon, it's on YouTube, Apple TV for rent or to buy.
Okay.
And I'm auditioning. I like right after I am done here with you guys, I have to submit a couple of auditions. There's another movie with Avi Cornish. I forgot the title. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine.
That should be coming out later this year. It's on my IMDb. I forgot the title of it. I am so sorry. I'm so focused on what's coming up.
What is this? Ultraviolet and the Blue Demon that you've got coming out?
No. That's bad. I should know the titles. I'm so sorry.
And there's another one called Detained that you.
Detained.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah. Detained, yes, with Abby Cornish. I have that coming out. That's a little role. And then I have a play here. If anyone's here in LA, we are premiering a new play by Evelina Fernandez, and she's a great playwright. She's writing some shows for Apple TV as we speak. She has this new play, and we are premiering in May 19th at the LATC in downtown LA.
Okay.
Yeah, if anyone's in LA, we're going to be there for a month and a half, which is a lot for LA because there's not a lot of theater in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's coming up, and looking forward to doing some more Star Trek and maybe some Star Wars too. You know, I have friends who work in production for Star Wars. I'm like, guys, bring me in for auditions, please.
Yeah, it'd be great to see you turn up in Mandalorian or something like that. Last question: is that a Batmobile coffee table back there?
Yes, that's the Hot Toys 1989. Michael Keaton Batmobile.
That is pretty sweet. I like that.
Outside of that, I also got to look at the DC Comics poster right over your shoulder there.
Oh yeah.
Which caught my eye because I believe, that same print.
Oh yeah, it's Justice League, right?
Yeah.
From Mondo.
Yep, it's not up on my wall yet. I had it up at my old place, and post-divorce that hasn't made it out of the boxes yet, but one of these days.
It's a nice one. I framed it. It was worth the frame, the Michaels frame.
Yeah.
All right. I know you have another engagement to get to, so I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us. So good luck, everything that you've got going on.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. And hopefully you can see me on more Star Trek soon.